Welcome along to the EXFL Tier 2 Season 8 Qatar Grand Prix. We're here for round 17 out of 22 in Losail. 14 drivers at the moment. Should be 15. We're still waiting on Oren to join. Right then, as the drivers have loaded in. On the ball with Tom heading out into the pit lane. Right in front of him. The one AlphaTauri, but it's not Seb. Unfortunately, Seb is a bit ill tonight, so he won't be racing. Instead, Josh Hewitt is back in the car. Well then, 18 minutes of qualifying have begun. They'll be putting their setups on, making slight adjustments, picking which tyre to go out to do their bankers. Right then, Tom in, I believe, his 6th race now. Heading into turn 4. In the Red Bull, Luigi, winner last time out and pole sitter, his first ever pole and win. All came in one race. The Japanese Grand Prix, he absolutely was in full control, and he heads into Qatar looking to pick up more points. So it's all looking good for him so far. Small Nick in the Haas looking to hopefully get some more points on the board for the American team. Morgan in the Alpine will hopefully be looking to claw back some more points after now dropping down to 4th in the standings. With Seb in front of him in 3rd, not racing. There's a chance he could get back ahead. Cal in the McLaren looking to help in the constructors fight, as well as he's got his own little battle to be fighting for in the drivers. Currently sitting in 9th, 1 point behind Luigi, who's 2 points behind Frosty, who is not racing today. And 1 point ahead of Sin Icon, who's also not racing today again. Warren, who after a few races he's missed, came back to Japan, got some good points for P8, so we're hoping to get more on the board. Ridian, since his return at Monza, in the Netherlands for Ferrari, has done a very nice job to get himself 458 points, and he heads into Qatar, hoping not to bottle a podium this time after he did last week. Josh Hewitt almost won last season, but underfueled by quite a significant amount, ran out with more than a lap to go. So he'll be hoping, after a bit of a poor run recently, that's dropped him out of contention for the title. Hopefully he can still do his bit to maybe help AlphaTauri close in on McLaren. Drifting on the Inters has been making pretty good progress this season. From outside the top 10 to inside the top 10 to some good top 5, some good 5th, 6th finishes really. Louis Doggo has entered every race since he joined the league, but unfortunately the best finish he has conjured up is 11th quite a few times, so when will that points finish come for him? Maybe tonight. AFC Callum for the first time in a while, back in the car. I believe he raced Monza was the last time in the Ferrari. Callum H, runner-up in the World Championship at the moment, invalidated, as I believe that was a run as Josh Hewitt puts in the first time. So Callum will head back in, 63 points behind the championship leader, Carlos Blanc. The Alfa Romeo out on track, looking to get some more good points. He's on 61, in 11th in the standings, helping Alfa Romeo to a solid 4th. They're just defending off Alpine, as Cal half a second ahead of Josh on the quicker tyre. And then here we go, Logovic 09, the World Championship leader, heads into what he says is his best track. So let's see if he can put the money where his mouth is. 63 point lead. It's a very healthy lead, as there's Oren. And let's see if he can extend it, or will it close. This is tier 2, anything can happen. And at the moment, Morgan by 2/10 is ahead of Luigi, who's just over a 10th ahead of Cal. And then comes Josh. Tom a second off, and Ridian 1.3 down as well. Warren on the medium compound tyres, his teammate on the Inters taking a different line. As across the line is Callum, 5 seconds down. He must have messed up somewhere. Bluey heading through the first sector now. Callum in the pit lane. Carlos Blanc just starting a lap, heading into turn 1. DRS shut as we climb down the gears. Gradual increase of throttle before you enter turn 2. Pretty much polar opposite to turn 1. Flat through 3. Up to 4 to finish the first sector. Oh no, wait. First sector split is after this. Yep, the 2 right-handers after. To then finish the first sector split. 26.9 into the hairpin. Exiting it very nicely indeed. No Eggy today as Oren's left again. Hopefully Callum will be responsible for getting Oren in and out. Well, not out, but anyway. Carrying on with the lap for Cargos Blanc. A little bit of traffic in front of the Ferrari. Through a crucial corner there. And now for about 15-20 seconds you're pretty much flat out. Just making sure to have focus before the final couple corners. It's so easy to invalidate as the Ferrari is still in front of him. Which is going to cause some bother. Dives into the pit lane. That's going to be a bit of a bother this whole lap for the Alfa Romeo. It is Callum, no surprise there. DRS open for the Alfa Romeo, and across the line then for Cargos Blanc. It will be a 1 minute 21.6 to still go P3, 11 thousandths off the front row. So solid lap then for the Alfa Romeo. I'm sure there's a bit more time in that as well. Callum on another outlap. About to begin his second run. Validated his first. And it's crucial that he does well here in a bid to close that gap to Logan. The lowest it can possibly go after today is 37. Which even with 5 rounds to go, that's still a very healthy lead. So Callum then riding on board into turn 1 then. Not exactly hitting the apex. But so far alright. Into turn 2. Avoiding a bit of the curbs there. Through turn 3. Flat out. Now into turn 4. So tricky to turn in too early or go too wide and invalidate. He's keeping it nice and easy. Of course, he needs just a time on the board in general. 27.0. That's not as good as Cargos Blanc, I believe, who did it. It was in the 26s. Exits the hairpin. And this might just be one of those tracks that he's struggling on for now. Luigi then onto provisional pole by just over a 10th. The records. As Callum carries on with his lap. And so far this season, we've had Cal, Jason, Callum, who took his first pole in Australia, Logan, then Seb, then Jason, then Seb, and then it was Sin Icon to take the first back-to-back poles of this season in Canada and Austria. Callum took it in Britain again, Logan in Hungary, Roos in Belgium, Frosty in Netherlands, and then, yeah, Callum has been on pole in 2 of the last 3 races, and Luigi got his first pole last time out, so Callum to cross the line. A 21.3 is what he has to beat. It's a 22.0 to only go P5 at the moment. He took 2 poles in a row in Italy and Singapore. In Japan, Luigi took pole, and at the moment, he's looking good in Qatar, but we're still awaiting Logan, who at the moment looks like he's just going to do the 1 run. Drifting yet to do a lap. Nick yet to do a lap. Warren weaving tremendously out of the pit lane. Ridian coming into the pit lane. Hewitt up by 3.5 tenths, right on the limit there as the Haas gets out of the way. And that was a solid first sector from Josh. If Callum's 26.0 puts him 5th, then Josh can be fighting for the top 4. Let's see how well he does the middle sector then. He's in a Haas sandwich on track at the moment. As yeah, Oren looks like he's still struggling to get into his car. Oh, give me a sec. Right then, round the final corner for Hewitt. After doing his medium run like he always does, he'll cross the line with the DRS open. A 21.3 is the time to be. It's been a solid lap for the AlphaTauri. 21.8 to go P5, half a second off. So Owen's having issues, but hopefully the game will give him a seat when he loads into the race. Right, Nick has just begun his lap. If he can get his first sector in the 26s, it will be solid. 26.8, it's looking good. A little hesitant through the hairpin. Drifting, 53.7 for the middle. Logan, about to start his lap as Morgan by over a 10th and a half. Goes back on provisional pole. It's Morgan versus Luigi at the moment. but we're still waiting for a few other names as Logan, the championship leader, then crosses the line with the 2 Williams in the background, drifting to cross the line after his teammate Warren will put it for a 21.4. Drifting goes P3. A very nice lap for the Williams driver with 7 minutes 45 remaining. Logan then to finish sector 1 through the 2 right-handers. See what he can do. A 26.8 is what's been averaged. 26.867 for him as well. Nick around the final corner, already flashing. There is tactics, because this is the only track, I believe, maybe another one, where you can try and save a bit of ERS to blast it on the final straight. Otherwise, you're going to run out before you cross the line. And Nick now goes P5 ahead of Cal. Quite close between them lot. Yellow flags around Logan. I believe 53.7. 53.9 for Logan. So he's actually a couple tenths off. Was it drifting maybe? Or Nick? So for his best track, he's got to deliver in the final 2 corners. The Alpine gets out of the way into the pit lane. 1 corner left then for the championship leader. And looks like he will be able to do 2 runs. DRS open. He has oh no, deploy usage across the line for Logan. P6 for the McLarens. And 7. Warren, invalidated. AFC Callum, invalidated as well. Both Ferraris outside the top 10 at the moment. Callum H down in 10th. With his main rival in 6th. That's a really good lap from drifting. P3. With provisional pole 21.1. I wonder if any one of them will get into the 20s. Someone predicted a 20.6 would be pole. They're still half a second off that. As Luigi then, with 6 minutes remaining, starts what could be his last run. But last week's pole sitter and winner heads into turn 1 then. How much time can he find? How much time is there to find for the Red Bull driver under the midnight sky? He goes to turn 3. Riding aboard with the Red Bull driver into 4 and 5. No mistakes. The thing just turns. It's a 26.5. He's found nearly a 10th in the first sector. It's looking good for the Red Bull. Heading into 6. So easy to go wide and invalidate. So easy to lose the car. But he's just trailing along on the curbs like it's on rails. Through a very vital corner to get right. No sudden moves or mistakes so far. And then here you can relax a little bit through the turkey-like same corners in a row. Except they're right-handers. Now up through probably the hardest corner on the track. Just feel the elevation and bumps. He's got a car in front of him that might help him in terms of slipstream. But round the final corner then comes the Red Bull. It's been a good lap so far. Right on the limit for an invalidation. But now he gains a little bit of a slip. But the car in front of him might be a bit too far ahead. But Luigi to cross the line. Is this provisional pole back? Yes, it is. A 10th and a half again. Luigi just outside the 1 minute 20s. But they've been swapping all session long. Morgan versus Luigi. And Luigi has taken provisional pole back ahead of Morgan. And it's always been around the same gap of a 10th and a half. Great stuff to see between these two. It is Luigi. And if anyone is to beat that, they are pretty much going to have to get into the 20s. But sitting with the final runs about to come from P2 all the way down to 11th, still in the pit lane, drifting still sits in what would be a career best starting position of P3. Callum saying he does not like Qatar. And Ridian saying 20 kilos of fuel isn't the way to go. Warren on an invalid lap. Bluey heading into turn 4 and 5. 26.7 is what the top guys are doing. He has done a 27.7. Found 6 tenths, still a second down. Warren with 3 minutes 30 remaining. I think, yeah, he should be able to get in and get out again. As Luigi, that might be it for him. I don't really know. That's 3 laps he's done now. Bit debris out there on the entry. As is this Cal then. He always tends to head out earlier before the others. But we can all see them heading out now. Morgan followed by Tom. Luigi heading in now with 3 minutes left on the clock. Bluey heading through the final couple corners then. 4.6 seconds down. Could potentially get ahead of Warren. He's going to cross the line in a few seconds' time. It's a 1 minute, 24.6. Improves by a whole second, but just misses out. Nearly a tenth and a half off Warren. So that'll be a him done for quali. AFC Callum still down in P14. Yet to set an actual representative time. Look at that, Callum a whole second off Luigi, who's really coming into his own in the late half of the season. And if anything, Logan should be happy about that. That's more people to take away big points from Callum, who has been on it, who has got the race pace, the quali pace, and the consistency to be able to deliver, but some unlucky moments, mistakes, and all round just consistency from his rivals have prohibited him sometimes. Anyway, everyone's out apart from Small Nick, who's still in the pit lane. He will be the last car to cross the line, as crossing the line is about to be Cow. And here we go then. 1 week after everyone fumbled their final run in Japan, let's see if we can actually have some changes when the track is at its best. Cal then into turn 1. He's got nearly 8 tenths to make up. The pole sitter of round 1 this season in the McLaren carries on. Nick right in front of him. Hopefully he'll get out the way. Heading into turn 4 and 5. It needs to be in the 26ers if he wants to have a shot. Nick does get out the way into the hairpin. 26.7. He's found over a tenth. It's a solid first for him. What about Morgan? Looking further back. Exiting turn 5 ahead of the Alpha Tauri of Josh into the end of sector 1. He's down by a little bit. What about Josh Hewitt? He's down by 3 tenths and invalid. Josh Hewitt will not be higher than 8th at the moment. The Ferraris. Brilliant. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be a 26.8. 4 tenths up. What about Callum? 26.9. So he's following his teammate. Well, Luigi on his outlap, about to start his lap. Nick about to start his lap. What about Logan? He's heading through the first sector now. Cal up by nearly a tenth through the middle. So at this rate is drifting. That's it for him. Third at best. Cal at this rate may get himself onto the second row, unless he's found a lot of time in the last sector across the line then for the McLaren. It's P4 for Cal. So in the background then, is that Callum? No, who's found over a tenth and a half? It's Nick. He's about to start his lap with 4 seconds remaining. He will be the last one. Morgan then, has he got it? No, he improves by a little bit. It's Luigi at the moment, who's still on provisional pole. And across the line, that's Hewitt. And across the line for Tom, P7. So here come the Ferraris then. What can Ridian do? What can Callum do? Callum's invalidated. That'll be last for him. Ridian to cross the line. Where will he appear? It's P10 at the moment. And now we wait to see Cargos Blanc. One by one. They're all improving. Cargos Blanc could get this onto the second row at the moment. Drifting still holding on to third. We're still awaiting the top 2 in the World Championship, who are going to cross the line in a few seconds. Right after Cargos Blanc goes P4 and across the line for Callum. He goes only 7th. Where's Logan across the line? Has he backed off? No, he's P3. It's P3 for the championship leader. Here comes Luigi, who's found even more time. Is he going to dip it into the 1 minute 20s? Pole position is his, and he goes even quicker. He goes into the 1 minute 20s, a 20.949. It's back-to-back poles for Luigi. As across the line, off the track goes Warren. If it's to stay valid, no, it's invalid for the Williams. Callum P7, Logan P3 at the end. That is a career best, but we're still waiting for Small Nick, who's found a couple tenths. Could he not drifting down to 5th? Where will he be? Is it 3rd? It's 4th for Nick. Drops drifting down to 5th. So it's P4 for the Haas. And that is the grid. Luigi, back-to-back poles. Morgan on the front row. Logan doing well for P3. Nick 4th, drifting. A career equaling best 5th then. Cargos Blanc 6th, Callum 7th. Callum H down in 8th. Tom 9th, Josh 10th, Ridian just missing out with his teammate right there. Warren, Bluey, and then AFC Callum. And hopefully Oren will get a seat for the race. So there's your grid then. Luigi coming into his own towards the latter stages of the championship season. Back-to-back pole positions for the Red Bull. Nearly 2/10 clear of Morgan. Logan on his best track salvages P3. Nick P4. That's 6 different constructors in the top 6. And yeah, no threat of rain expected for this kind of race. They'll be loading in, changing their setups, adjusting their fuel load, which is probably the most important thing. If there's safety cars, it doesn't become that much of an issue, but there wasn't any last season. And we saw a few come to face that. And strategy will also be a big talking point with how recently the game has completely thrown and upped the ante on the tyre wear. Do these people know? I didn't say anything to them, so it might be a bit of a shock if we see some drivers early in the pit lane, early into the race. Has Oren got a car? No. Looks like the game's still not doing it for him. Unfortunate for Oren. Looks like we'll have to progress then. As we're waiting for the players, we'll wait for the lights. It counts down then. This is the Qatar Grand Prix in EXFL Tier 2 Season 8. We're closing in then. 6 races left. 60-point lead for the man on the second row. But on the front row, it's Luigi on the left, Morgan on the right. The 5 lights out. The revs rise. Yep, that was way too long. I timed that and we have to restart. Hello, Luigi. Goofy game. We're into the final month of it and it's still doing this. Bear with a few minutes and we'll be back up racing. Hope everyone's having a good evening. I sure know it's bloody boiling. Eggy's on Twitch. I think he said he was preparing for exams or something. So if you're watching, Sven, hope you're having a good evening. Guess Oren would be allowed in. And yeah, Fire, if you're confused, there was like a Qatar race I did a month or so ago, and it was definitely a 2-stop race because the softs died after 6-7 laps. They got up to like 40 or 50%. The mediums maybe 10, and the hards maybe 11. So it's a 29 lap race, and they all died after. By 10 laps, you were in critical condition, really. I still don't know if it's that now, but it is an interesting one. Right. Luigi, Morgan. Where's Logan? There, you'll join. Ah, there he is. Just missing one other person because I can see Orinen. Louis down there. There's Nick. Right. Oh yeah, Nick. That's the next one. Nick. Drifting. Cargo's Blong. Cal. Callum. Tom. Josh. Ridian. Warren. Louis. Callum. Oren. Right. There we go. Alright, they can ready up. Take 2. I don't know if it's normal. I just remember doing a race last year at the end of 23 and it was normal. And then a race a month or so ago it was completely different. Because of one stop, I opted to, when others pitted, I opted to go to the end with hards, same with Ferdy, before I disconnected. And Ferdy actually managed to do it and win. No one was able to do that last time, a month or so ago, but we'll wait and see. No. Right. I didn't actually check if they all picked their cars, but oh well. Can I check? No, I can't check yet. Oh well, now they know at least about the tyre stuff, and it should be interesting. There we go. Right. Yeah, okay. They're all in the right cars. Majority starting on mediums, a few on the hards. Looking to go long. It is pretty hard to crash around here. In terms of barrier-wise. The only barrier you can really hit is if you lose on the exit at the last corner. Softs for Nick, softs for Ridian. It's a vast array. What will be the right choice? Here we go again. Please work. This is the Qatar Grand Prix in EXFL Tier 2 Season 8. Luigi on the left, Morgan on the right. The 5 lights go out as the revs rise. And it's lights out and away we go in Qatar. Luigi ahead of Morgan then. Small Nick already making up ahead of Logan, who's not had the greatest start as Drifting pulls alongside him into turn 1. The McLaren's on the outside of Drifting and Cargo's Blong as they fight away. Luigi holds on to the lead then. Ahead of Morgan, ahead of Nick, ahead of Logan who has held off Drifting. Cargo's Blong ahead of Cal who's right in front of Josh Hewitt. And Callum fighting his way through. Between him and Hewitt falls behind down into 9th. Tom in 10th, destroying the board in the background. There's Callum as Ridian's had an awful start. He's been spun round down in P15. Heading into the hairpin for the first time then Cal under pressure from Josh Hewitt who goes round the outside, does the medium runner versus the hard runner and has got the traction enough. Still yellow's going around with Oren now spinning around and down the inside Callum making up a place on his main championship rival's teammate and he's got the place done. Another medium runner ahead of the hard compound runner. Let's look at position changes. biggest gainer, Josh Hewitt, up by 3. Same with AFC Callum. Great starter, and another great start for the Ferrari driver then. And on the soft compound tyres, as we switch it, yeah, soft compound tyres, that's why. And going off there is Callum. No, Nick. Yeah, going off there is Nick on the soft compound tyres, making his way up. That's why he got so fast ahead of Logan. Is going off there, drifting in P5 under pressure from Cargos Blanc. So Luigi then leads out, already blasting 40% of his battery on the opening lap. Ahead of Morgan, under pressure on the hard compound tyres. Nick wasting no time, blasting his way past Morgan into second. Logan watching this unfold, sitting all right in fourth and down the inside. Cargos Blanc gets up in a fifth ahead of another hard compound runner, as Hewitt is going to be looking keen to get another place up in this race. And they've pretty much left Callum, who's got some work to do. Cal under pressure from Tom. The two friends as Josh looking to the inside of drifting down the inside. Goes Josh Hewitt on drifting. Good on drifting to back out. As yeah, Callum still ahead of Cal, and Tom sitting right behind the top 10 then. Going straight on there is Tom, nearly running into the back of the McLaren, and 3 seconds down. Callum a further 4 seconds, Bluey, and then the three who have pretty much had an off or some sort. Warren versus Ridian. Ridian all over the back as Josh Hewitt fighting with Cargos Blanc. He's got the place too, down the inside. Looking there, AFC Callum first penalty. That's going to be a big talking point too. As yeah, Cargos Blanc must have made a mistake. A drifting had a little look, but stayed behind for now. Nearly a second gap then. Luigi to Small Nick, who hasn't burnt as much as Luigi. Just keeping all right. Once again, Logan has the most out of anyone in the top 4. Over a second ahead of Josh Hewitt, who's made a fabulous 5 places at the moment. As we finish lap 2. And yeah, he's used quite a lot of his battery. Same with James, to be honest. Drifting, still looking good with 84. 81 for Callum too. Just sitting behind in the train. 1 second then, Luigi versus Logan. Luigi versus Nick. Background, we see Bluey ahead of Callum, who's given up already. Warren pitted for hards at the end of lap 1, and Ridian trying to attack Oren there. So on lap 3, Luigi just over a second ahead of Nick, who is ahead of Morgan, who is in a pretty good place at the moment. He can hold on to third. He knows those softs in front of him are going to fall off soon, which gives him the opportunity, if he stays far ahead of Logan, who's putting him under pressure. He is in a good spot at the moment. Hewitt, if he can save some battery now, it is very difficult to do so around here. And yeah, that's also going to be, especially if we have a safety car, time penalties. They are going to be quite a big factor. Cargos Blanc sitting in 6th, the 4th medium runner. Drifting, the 2nd hard runner. He'll be looking to go long. If there's a safety car now, because there is a yellow, I think that's just Callum's car. Okay, that's fine then. Right then, 40% for Luigi, 48 for Nick. He's actually burnt a bit to try and get back within a second. It hasn't changed anything. Morgan doesn't have DRS, but Logan does. And he'll be looking to the inside to take back third. And the McLaren gets the place on the Alpine. Further back, Josh nearly burnt all his battery to keep in 5th. To stay ahead of Cargos Blanc. Drifting, falling a bit further behind due to the hard rubber. And Callum needs to make inroads and gain some positions. As Ridian gets past Bluey Doggo into turn 1 on the soft compound tyres. So yeah, don't know what happened to Ridian at the start. He spun right here. May have been off someone or on his own. Most probably off someone, or got spun by someone. And then Oren into the hairpin that the leaders are coming up to now. Never mind, they've just passed it. Something happened to him. And then Warren also must have had damage to pit on the opening lap. 2.2 seconds now. Nick really struggling. Is 3 laps really the limit? Or is Nick just struggling on those softs as Logan is right on the back? And the slip you can gain through these corners is quite crazy how much you can gain. He's all over the back. He's having to back off a little bit as Logan. As more and more Nick is holding them up and letting Luigi just run away with this race. 77.64 to Nick's 46. Logan might be up to P2 by the end of this straight. Riding aboard with the McLaren, and he's going to fly past as Morgan in the slipstream of the Haas. Logan up into second as Morgan try and move as well to the inside of Nick. They're wheel to wheel, and they make slight contact, and they spin. Morgan and Nick. Nick carries on. Nick 3 second, he went off. And Morgan's been spun down to P10. Don't know if Morgan just didn't turn in enough, or Nick just turned in too early, whatever the case. Morgan's been spun down to 10th. That's really going to affect his race, and Nick carries on for now. Morgan at the back of this train as Tom hits the back of Cal there, I think. Forces him off. The two mates getting in the walls of it there, and Tom gets the place. And now the two hard runners going to fight one another. That does promote Callum up into 7th. That is one less driver and a big name he doesn't have to really worry about now. As wheel to wheel, Nick under more pressure from Josh, who's flashing. This is allowing Logan to also get ahead. This helps Callum gain on the guys in front. You can see how much time he's losing, Nick. He's all over the road. And Josh, with barely any ERS, is he going to be even able to get ahead of the Haas? This allows Cargo's Bomb, but not even battery much himself. What about drifting? He's using a bit. And yeah, you can see how much Cargo's Blanc. He's blasting all his battery. He's looking for a double overtake here. Down the inside goes the Alfa Romeo. 3 wide into turn 1. The double overtake as James moves over. Hits Josh a little bit. Gets the move done. And Nick loses 2 spaces. He's still on the inside there of Josh. Wheel to wheel stuff. And he hits Josh out and round. And they've all made contact there. That allows Callum to gain on all of them. Down the inside of Josh. He's already caused 1 incident. And Callum backs off for now to make sure he doesn't get involved in another. And Small Nick versus Josh. Nick, I'm guessing he didn't feel like there was enough space left. He had to correct to make the space. And that made Josh go a bit wide and made Nick spin. So quite a few of these guys going to be under investigation. Seems like Oren said he didn't pick a setup. Oh my god, Huey. Yeah, so that's allowed Callum up in a 5th now. Still quite a gap. So Cargo's Blanc made the double move and then moved into the braking. A bit left on Josh. Oh, as he's gone off there. Sliding in the background. Josh Hewitt now going to be under pressure from Callum, who has plenty of ERS to hopefully soar past Josh, who's gone off again. And that is a penalty. He's really struggling, is he? And that's going to allow Callum, who's looked really good so far. He's not actually close to Josh. They're not using battery here. They're being smart about it. Seems like Callum's already scheduled a pit stop. You can see in the bottom left as Bluey gets a penalty. It's red now. So Logan 3 seconds off Luigi. Cargo's Blanc 3 seconds off Logan. Josh sticking with the Alfa Romeo. Same with Callum. But leader Callum is 4 seconds off as Ridian gets ahead of Nick, who's into the pit lane. Those softs. 6 laps. There it is. Call Josh Hewitt Huey. Okay. But yeah, the 6 laps with those softs, and Nick's had enough of them. He comes out the pit lane. There's Oren. Should be ahead of him. So yeah, Logan 2.8, Callum 6.8, so 4 seconds between the two rivals. And let's just look at Ridian, who's already struggling there on exit through the hairpin. On those softs, you can already see a bit of graining on the front right. Just trying to manage it at the moment. We'll focus back to the front, guys. And yeah, Hewitt, he may still be within a second of Cargo's Blanc, but Callum is a lot closer this time. And you can see the 2 cars in front flashing. I don't think he has the capacity to go for a double overtake, but that's wide from Josh. Maybe a decent exit as there's been a collision. Nick and Bluey off into the gravel. And don't know what happened there. I think Nick was trying to close on Bluey as Callum is ahead of Josh Hewitt into turn 1, moves over and gets the move done. Clean move there from the Haas driver. I believe that's what James was trying to do a few laps ago. But look at this, 6 cars in one frame as Cargo's Blanc just eking out ahead of that. But now Callum is 1 space away from being on the podium. And yeah, Josh couldn't really do a lot about that. Drifting is in a good position at the moment. He is the lead hard runner as the top 5 are all on the same compound of tyre. And you never know what he could do. He's going to go long into this race with chances of safety cars not that high. 7 cars and 3 of the last 4 on hards. The gap staying pretty constant between Logan and Luigi. Luigi using a bit of battery here and there just to get ahead. And now Callum's next car he'll have to overtake is Cargos Blanc. Will he be close enough? The slipstream is pretty powerful through these next 3 corners. As Warren gets a penalty. Huey goes off there then. He's just struggling, and it looks like by the end of this race he might be on 6 or 9 seconds of pens. He has to keep it within the white lines. No one pitting at the moment. Half a second between Cargos Blanc and Callum. Does Callum stay behind for another lap, or does he start blasting his battery? He doesn't. So we'll see how much he can gain for now, which is a few tenths, but he's not going to be close enough for a move unless he dives it, which he doesn't. Drifting to the inside of Hewitt, and once again another position lost at turn 1 for the AlphaTauri, drifting up into 5th. 3.1, Luigi has really found some pace in the last couple of weeks. And look at that, 7 cars, 3rd all the way down to 9th, separated by just a couple seconds, and this time around Callum looks much closer to the Alfa Romeo. And Nick gets ahead of Ridian, who's in. Yep, the softs after nearly 10 laps then. Pits onto the mediums. I believe he'll have to pit again then, as out comes Oren. Out comes Ridian, and there's Oren ahead of the Ferrari. That's Bluey in as Warren goes ahead. Tom now 3-second time penalty. This is the main part of the race then. 3rd all the way down to 9th. No one more than 7 tenths behind the other. And the ones like Logan, who are so consistent with not getting 3 seconds at the moment, are going to pay well for that. Callum, 6 tenths. It's actually a bit bigger of a gap than last lap, as Ridian is ahead of Oren now on the exit of the hairpin. We resume back to the start of lap 10. Callum still sticking with James. Having a little look this time, putting him a bit under pressure, which if anything is going to make them lose more time. But even if Callum gets ahead, as Joshua gets another penalty, even if Callum gets ahead, he's going to have to get out of a second. And even then, to close 5 seconds is going to take too much tyre life out and ruin the rest of his race's stint. So what he's doing right now isn't too bad. Drifting is all over the back of Callum. So as the mediums start to wear more than the hards, this is where Drifting, Morgan and Cal are going to come into their own a little bit more now, as the rest, half a minute behind, they are going to be hoping for a safety car, as they're all a bit spread out. Bluey's actually been lapped now by Luigi, so if anything that might come into Logan's help at the right place and right time to give him DRS. Still 7 cars then, a 7-car train from 3rd all the way down to 9th. Cargos Blanc, who I guess has been involved in one thing. Callum, who hasn't been involved in anything. Drifting, I think the same. Josh, who's been involved in a few things. Tom, I think, well, one thing with Cal. Morgan, he got spun as into the pit lane. Comes Callum, the undercut is coming out then. Does anyone follow him in? No. So he's the first to blink for these 7. That's left a bit of breathing room for James. Drifting ahead of Josh, and looks like they'll remain single file. Cal is just hanging on to these lot. So Callum, what will he pill onto? Another set of mediums. It is going to be a 2-stop. At least for the Haas driver. Medium, medium, soft, potentially. He's going to be in free air, ahead of his teammate Nick, who was at the back of this train, remember. Well, no, he was more like 7 seconds behind, and the gap between him and Callum looks to be that. As Callum in free air, and the undercut here can be very powerful. So considering he was 5 seconds behind Logan, this was probably the best option he could take. So yeah, 3rd of the race done. He's, 7 seconds ahead of Nick. And now it is time to push. Use up all that battery he's saved over the course of the race, but not take too much tyre life out of them. As Smolnik gets a time penalty. So what will the rest do? Luigi stays out. Logan doesn't react. He stays in. Cargos Blanc, what does he do? As Bluey's in. And none of these lot are pitting yet. None of them are blinking yet. So Callum will be able to gain quite a bit and hopefully put himself into the fight for the top 3. If Logan was to pit this lap, then it could have been very interesting with how close as Bluey Doggo into the pit lane retires. So that's the second one out. Cal close to the back of Morgan because they know they're on the same tyre. They know this is for position. But for now, they're all just keeping put. Josh Hewitt on 8% is still hanging on, to be fair, in 5th with drifting. 54%. And Cal as well. Decent amount of battery. As Cal now gets a penalty as soon as I say that. And Morgan's all over the shop, and Cal into the hairpin is going to have a look around the outside. Will he switch on the Alpine? Not quite close enough. But now he's got the momentum to go to the inside. Morgan versus Cal. He leaves in the room, does Morgan, and stays ahead of the McLaren. But Cal wants to get on with this. Morgan's tyres may be fading as Huey gets another penalty. 9 seconds now. Jesus. Actually, gap to leader as Josh has actually dropped off a bit there. He's just lost a second to drifting. So he's not going to have the DRS. That allows Tom, who's going to get up in a 5th soon. So Callum, half a minute off the lead. It's coming down all the time. Who comes into the pits? Cargo's Blong, followed by Josh, followed by Tom. All the medium runners then, as Josh nearly hits the wall. I don't know if he did, if he has damage or not. Making sure not to speed, and Hewitt's, yep. That's why. I'll look at tyre and put it back. Nope. Interval, there we go. Right. What do they pit onto? Tom onto hards. He's going for the 1-stop. Doesn't matter about Josh. Cargo's Blong, he's also going for the hard. So they're going for the 1-stop. Callum has to pit again. And where will James come out? There's Callum. It was obvious he was going to get the undercut. It's not a massive gap, but it's a couple of seconds in hand. As Hewitt becomes the 3rd retiree then of the race. That allows Nick and Ridian up a place. So Callum managed to get 4.1 seconds ahead of Cargo's Blong. That means it is going to be close between the Haas and the McLaren of Logan. The top 2 in the World Championship could be very close on track, and that is going to be very interesting. They've had one moment this season of contact, and that was into the first turn on the opening lap at Monza, where Logan just sent it a bit. But they still were fine. No love lost as they are into the pits now. Same with Luigi. No safety car as we approach the halfway stage of the Grand Prix. Drifting stays out another lap. So does Morgan and Cal. The hard runners going long. And it should be medium to hards then. Callum has gone with the 2-stop. He's going to be preying on a safety car then. It's the top 2. Yep, pit for the hards. And where do they come out then? Callum comes around the final corner. Luigi exits onto the track. There's Callum in the background. Luigi will stay ahead, but where is Logan compared to Callum? It's going to be close, and it seems like Callum's going to undercut and get ahead of his championship rival. Callum into turn 1, ahead of Logan on the mediums. 3.4 down. Logan over a second behind. James 2.5, he gained a couple seconds too with barely any battery. Logan's got it all to use. Callum used about 30% worth, and Logan, as Smolnik gets I think another time penalty. Logan already closing to nearly under a second, now definitely a second. Callum losing some time there, and it's all in control at the moment for Luigi as we still wait for the top 3 to pit. Oren into the pit lane. No one lapped because they've all made their pit stops at the bottom. Still waiting for these 3 though. Lap 14, drifting remains out in front. I believe as Morgan pits now and Cal stays out. I believe this is the first time drifting has ever led an EXFL Tier 2 Grand Prix. So good on him. I'm sure he's taking it in, enjoying, using a bit of his battery. Luigi 12 seconds off the lead. As you can see him in the background there. Into turn 1. For the leader, Cal, P2, looking to go long. As Morgan will pit for the mediums then. That's going to be quite a stint. He's going to come out behind Tom. He'll be close, but he will be at the back of these lot. And there's Nick in the background. Into the pits again. On 7 laps, only on the hards. Out to retire. And then there were 11. They just couldn't endure. As Warren gets a time penalty again. 6 seconds, Oren 9 seconds. So everyone's scoring points apart from one at the moment. Going off there, Warren again. Closest battle, it's between the top two in the World Championship, and I can't believe I've not realised Logan got ahead of Callum while all that was happening. And he's already a second ahead. Callum trying to burn a bit to get back within a second of his championship rival. So yeah, Logan, as Morgan now gets a penalty for pushing too hard on the new tyres. Logan got ahead of Callum then. Drifting in, Cal stays out again. More than half the race on those hards. Drifting in then, he'll pit for the mediums. More than a second ahead of Callum. Luigi fastest lap 24.7. Logan now fastest lap 24.3. Track's rubbering in and Logan has got the pace on these tyres. Drifting comes out in P8, so he did have a deficit to quite a few cars, but now he's at the back of all of them. And the only one he's really going to gain on is Cal. So yeah, Drifting's lost a few places there. And a bit of an advantage actually to Morgan, who's undercut him by 5 seconds on the same strategy and compound. So yeah, Drifting, I think, left it a little too late. His tyres will be in good shape towards the end. But yeah, that train of 7 cars has completely extended now. Everyone more than a second ahead of the other on their new tyres. Carlos Blanc, 3 seconds. That allows Drifting, if there is a safety car, to gain a few of those places back. Cal stays out again. Those hard tyres must be screaming. Is he just waiting for a safety car? Or is his plan... Those who have done a hard to medium run or medium to hard run, they should withstand, as we're seeing a battle here. Luigi about to lap Warren versus Oren. Down into turn 1 for the last points paying position. A little bit of contact there, Warren versus Oren. And yeah, they're ghosted because Luigi's about to lap them. Morgan now fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Could they use the ghosting to their advantage? Oren versus Warren still into turn 4. Oren goes off there. Warren holds on to 10th. This is for 1 point. Luigi laps them. Oren doesn't really have to get out of the way or move his line. Luigi's quick enough to go ahead. But yeah, here's the plan that might be happening with Cal. Is he staying out to hold Luigi up, to let Logan gain on him? Or if Luigi and Logan really are going to have to pit again, I don't really see why though. Cal could have track position. He was at the back of the train, he was nurturing his tyres. It will be interesting as Luigi's about to lap Warren through quite a blind corner without a lapped car with you. No, Cal comes into the pits now. So Luigi then will take back the lead now. And he's looked in control the whole time, just like last week. And Logan will get up in a second, and Carlos Blanc will be on the podium. Cal will put the medium compound tyres on. Callum in again, because he has to. Only 6 laps on those mediums. And he's gone medium, medium hard. The 2-stop has not worked for runner-up in the championship. He will be P8 on new hards. And he's got a lot of work to do to gain any sort more position. As we see Ridian there in the background. It has not worked out. Oren, another penalty. Tom, out of all of this, has got up into 4th. Everyone's made a stop. Oh, as soon as I say that, he's got another penalty. So unlucky, but Drifting could still gain a few. Heck, if there's a safety car, drifting gets a podium. But we haven't had one this season or last season at Qatar. It's just been 47 laps so far of uninterrupted action. But yeah, Red Bull, 1st and 4th at the moment. It'll be 1st and 5th if it finishes like this, because Morgan is under 3 seconds behind the Red Bull on those quick medium compound tyres. Logan 3.4 to Luigi, the gap staying constant. Carlos Blanc 5 seconds off. They're all still a bit spaced out. 10 to go. Callum, AFC Callum reporting he had too many issues. That's why he was the first to retire. Then Bluey retired in the pit lane. Then Hewitt retired in the pit lane. Then Nick also retired in the pit lane. We've got 11 at the moment. Everyone's scoring points apart from Oren. He's got 12 seconds of pens. I believe he doesn't have a setup on either. He's wearing a Senna tribute helmet. And he's about to be lapped by his teammate. Luigi then comfortably out in front. 22%. Logan 52%. Has lost about half a second on this lap. And actually, yeah, let's check the fuel lights. Everyone's good. No signs of anyone running out this time round. The pit thing is blue for a few of them. As Oren's helped his teammate out there, giving him DRS, blasting all his battery left. Still stays in front of him though, which is a little bit of a bother. Or not. And yeah, Tom is gaining on Cargos Long a little bit, but Morgan is gaining even more. Who got spun by Nick at the early stages. He was running in a pretty decent position, and he could have been right with Logan. Maybe even Luigi. But for now, he's trying to get back that podium, and he's under a second behind Tom, who's using every bit of his battery to close in on Cargos Blonde before Morgan gets him. So yeah, while I said they're all spaced out, they are closing in on one another. Drifting on the mediums, looking to join that fight soon. And at least stay within 6 of Tom. Love the Williams helmet for him too. Callum, he's just got to deliver now. Zoran gets a 5th pen. With Logan scoring 18 points and Callum only scoring 4 at the moment. That'll be a 14-point increase from 63 to go to 77 points with 130 left on offer. And after USA next week, it'll go down to 104. And the highest from 77 you can get it is to 103. So if it stays like this, no matter what happens in USA, Logan still can't become world champion just yet. Unless Callum loses even more, or unless Logan somehow wins the Grand Prix. He's just been so consistent. A lot of races he may have not seen the quickest, but he has been there every single time without fail delivering. Which for a lot, you can't really say. They've had their great moments, but their lowest are also there to reflect. But Logan, every time he's been beaten down, spun round on the opening lap, he's come back through. And he's getting the points, he's getting the consistency he needs. No penalties, no incidents. And he's just in a world of his own at the moment. As Warren gets a 3rd pen. May as well check warnings actually. Ooh. This race director's massive. Interesting. So Luigi is on 2 warnings. As here we go then, the fight for the podium. They've all closed in on one another. Tom's caught Cargos Blanc. Morgan is right on the back of Tom. These two both flashing. Morgan can see that. And we'll quickly check on Logan. He's clean, as he so often is. No penalty, no warnings for Logan. And Luigi, if he gets one more, is going to be on one. Logan would need to gain 8/10, but he has 20% more battery. So Luigi it's all down to him. It's in his hands. If he messes up, even if Logan's not near him, it could still cost him the win. But now the fight is on. 3rd, 4th and 5th. Drifting, not exactly made inroads on these lot. Lost a few tenths actually. I think the DRS is helping them keep ahead as Morgan all over the back as they're lapping Warren. It's going to cause a bit of bother. Tom all over the back of Cargos Blong, having to back off a little bit there. Morgan, if he could do what Cargos Blong did and get a double overtake as Cal gets another time penalty, he could pull this off. Could the Alpine? They're going to both be blasting to stay ahead. Morgan hasn't decided to blast yet. Here comes Tom then for P3. Cargos Blong, does he go defensive? No. Tom will go to the inside. He'll take P3 on lap 23. Morgan stays behind for now. Cargos Blong goes deep, and that allows Morgan to have the impotence he needs. Will he go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo, who just squeezes him out and stays in 4th for now, and loses the rear a little bit. That allows Morgan to have another chance down into turn 4, blasting his battery to go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, who doesn't fight it. We'll look for a little bit of a switchback, but Morgan's got the place. Good racing between these lots. Oren gets another penalty, his 6th of the evening. Good coordination there from the two, and Morgan gets the place. Good on him. And even if he stays where he is, that was pretty much the fight for the podium, because Tom has 6 seconds worth. So if it finishes like this, Morgan will be on the podium to fight back for 3rd in the standings, as well as gain on 2nd. Callum not making any gains at the moment on Cal. Oldest tyres, Cargos Blong on 10. Same with Tom on 10. They've still got to do 6 more laps. Tom's actually eked out a bit of a gap to Morgan, nearly a second. But I'm sure he'll close on him. Logan's got the gap down to 3.2 now. A couple more tenths, and if Luigi gets a time penalty, that will be interesting. We are running out of laps for another safety for our first ever Qatar safety car in Tier 2. Luigi, no mistakes now, and he'll be fine. No change between Tom and Morgan at the moment. Maybe on the next lap. Cal is caught drifting. Drifting will be hoping his teammate gives him DRS at the end of this lap. And he is probably within it now. They're on similar amounts of ERS. Cal will see him start to flash now. And Drifting will be praying Warren is still ahead of him by the end of the lap to give him DRS. But at the moment, causing a bit of a bother. Nope, he's out of the way. Morgan right on the back of Tom, and he's going to be even closer with the slipstream. Same with Cal, he's going to be gaining. Morgan all over the back of the Red Bull into the penultimate corner. The gap is nearly under 3 seconds for Logan and Luigi. It's now under 3 seconds. Morgan is going to have a better line. Tom is not going to be able to do anything to defend. Morgan will just use his DRS, use a bit of slipstream, pull to the left, and he will go into P3 for the Alpine. Don't know why he's not using a bit of battery to make it easier, but doesn't matter. He's up in the 3rd now, is Hughes Morgan. Ahead of Tom, as Cal gets ahead of Drifting then into turn 1. Good moves then as going off there is Warren, watching this unfold, holding on to that point. Radiant, been a pretty lonely race for him. Same with Callum. Tried it as Drifting, coming back at Cal to the inside. Cal losing the room, and Drifting can't quite get the move, but he might come back at him with DRS on the next lap. 2.7. Logan is gaining a little bit on Luigi. Luigi using quite a bit of battery, always at that part of the track to try and extend it, but that's one place you don't really want to use battery. as Warren gets another penalty. What are we looking on pen? 12 versus... Are they just having a competition at this rate? As, yeah, Drifting's still sticking with Cal. It's close between the two of them. At some points, you even have to back off. You get too close to them due to slipstream. Does Tom have a go on Morgan again? Drifting will definitely try. 2.8. 4 to go. Tom is gaining, and he's going to go for it. Here's the Red Bull to the inside. The fight for third. And Tom gets it for now. Morgan stays behind. Down to the inside, further back. Drifting back ahead of Cal. Cal has been quite surrounded by Williams in the last couple of races with the fights. This one's no different. And close action carries on between the Red Bull and Alpine. The more they fight, you'd think that would help these two gain, but in fact the gap's still increased by a couple of tenths. 2.5 now. When it comes to this kind of part of the race where it's just continuous laps after laps, Logan's race pace is showing to gain on Luigi, who may just be looking after his tyres, not making any mistakes, knowing he's on 2 warnings, and any more would lose him the win. No more chances of safety cars then. It's down all to the Red Bull driver. It's in his hands to not get a warning. Fastest lap at the moment would go to Morgan by 5 thousandths to Logan. And, oh, Hewitt was spectating that whole time. Morgan gaining in the slip of Tom. Is he close enough for any sort of move? He's going to stay behind for now as Tom goes defensive. Does he go around the outside? Not quite. Carlos Blanc has lost 1 second of these two. Drifting's gained quite a few tenths as he's right in front of Cal there, who I think tried a move. They're going to go wheel to wheel through turn 2. They should really be working together to gain on the front in front. But for now, Drifting stays ahead of Cal, who's in the slip. Will go for the inside at turn 4. Will he be far enough alongside to go to the inside? Oh, there we go. He's got the move. All good. And yeah, Cal has got the place on Drifting. 2.2 now. Again, Luigi, same place. He's nearly flashing. And Logan will not give up. If it wasn't for Nick at the start holding a few of them up, Logan could have been a bit closer to the Red Bull. But Red Bull, who have had quite a bit of struggles in the last season or so, after winning the Constructors in Season 6 a year ago. Same with Ferrari, really. They're currently running first and third, and I'm sure they're in a really good spot right now. Warren, another penalty. Tom will drop to 5th at the moment, but this should be a change onto the penultimate lap between Tom and Morgan. He'll go to the inside now, moving around just to make sure there's no contact, and he gets up in a third. Tom, will he try a switch? He'll try it, but there's no point, not enough traction as Cal round the outside of Drifting. They've put on a great fight so far, and lap 28 is another one. Cal ahead. Drifting knows he's going to beat Cal. Will he look to the inside? No. Tom 6 seconds. Drifting. That's going to be a bit close. That is very close. It's literally a 10th between Drifting and Tom. To see if Drifting gets... So that'll promote him to 6th. So this is either going to be 6th or 5th for Drifting, depending on if Tom is 6 seconds ahead of the Williams driver. At the moment it's 5.6, so at the moment Drifting is going to get P5, which would equal his career best that he got in Belgium and another race. We start the final lap then with Luigi. 1.7 to Logan, who's used everything. They're both flashing, and Logan hasn't got close enough to Luigi to full on challenge him, so Luigi still just has to coast. No one in the red, but it is close between Tom and Carlos Blanc. Carlos Blanc to the inside, fights Tom, which is going to lose him even more time to Drifting. Carlos Blanc gets up in a fourth. He was going to get fourth anyway with 3 seconds to Tom's 6, but he's made a last lap move. Cal versus Drifting to the inside on the last lap. They're wheel to wheel, and if they lose more time fighting, it's going to lose Drifting 2 more points. Cal still ahead of the Williams. And Drifting still behind for now. Cal holding Drifting up a little bit there, but he stays in front. His mediums are falling off the cliff as Drifting pitted quite a bit later. No, Drifting's will be actually. Cal's is earlier. Yeah, 2 laps. It's come down. Logan has closed the gap as much as he could, and maybe a couple more laps. He could have got Luigi as Tom gets another penalty. That will secure Drifting P5. But round the final corner, last week, pole to victory. 7 days later, put it on repeat. Luigi, pole to victory again. He's dominated Japan. He's going to dominate the Qatar Grand Prix. He's waving, and across the line, it's back-to-back victories for Luigi, for Red Bull. He wins the Qatar Grand Prix. Logan comes home P2. Hughes Morgan will pick up the podium ahead of Cargos Blong in P4. They'll come home for some great points. Tom looks like he'll drop down. Callum will just miss out by 7/10 to Tom. And Drifting will come across the line to take P5 for Williams. And I'm sure he'll enjoy that very much indeed. Callum, unfortunately, the 2-stop did not work for him, and he's lost crucial points to his championship rival. 77 points at the top now, and he's got a hope on just defending runner-up. Warren P9, Ridian P9, Warren P10, and Oren. Unfortunately, will be no points for him, but he finishes the Grand Prix. And it is back-to-back victories then for Luigi. Alright, there we have it. 1.3 was the gap in the end. This is going to be a long race, Director. Drifting got a warning. A couple laps to go. Still didn't get a pen. Same with Luigi and Logan, as well as Callum and Ridian. But yeah, that was the Qatar Grand Prix. Let's interview our top 3. Warren's gone straight to F1 2021. Interesting. Right. Logan. Morgan.
Oh, man.
And Luigi. There we go. Right.
Oh.
We've got second and third joining the party at the moment. Still waiting on Luigi for now. Morgan, have you included your audio?
I have.
Logan,
Hello.
have you included your audio?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. As there's Luigi. I'll just ask him. You there, mate, Luigi?
Goated profile pic.
Luigi? We'll come back to it. We'll start off with third. Morgan, P3 and fastest lap. You had to work for that one a bit after troubles at the start. But just take us through your race, mate.
I think I chose the wrong compound, if I'm honest. You know, wasn't the greatest to start, so I maintained P2, and then obviously Small Nick was on the softer compound, so I was like, oh, I might as well just let him by, see if he could fight Luigi. And then a little bit of contact happened, which relegated me down to about P9, P10. But you know, I think the recovery drive was great. I didn't lose my head, got a penalty, didn't lose my head still. And yeah, I just recovered my drive, and I'm happy with the P3. Obviously, starting P2, so I lost the position, but P3 is not bad on the podium, and that's maximum points. Well, not maximum points, but max I could have got.
Yeah, you drove through the field very well after that spin that dropped you, I believe, down to 9th. At the back of the 7-car train with Cal. And yeah, you started on the hards, pit for the mediums, gained some good ground. I think you pitted at a good time. And then you were in the fight with Cargo's Blong and Tom towards the end. A little bit of fun wheel to relax,
Yeah.
considering Tom had more penalties than you, so you knew you were going to beat him anyway. To come home with, yeah, another podium. I'll just quickly double check. Does that move you back up into third in the standings?
Please.
Oh, 23 points behind Seb has gone down to 7. So you're still fourth, but it's 7 points between you and the AlphaTauri man. So that'll be close.
That's huge.
But yeah, well done, mate.
Thank you, I do appreciate it.
You deserve that.
Thank you.
So yeah, well done. We'll move on to Logan, P2. You qualified third, I think? Yeah, third. Just take us through your race, mate. It wasn't the greatest start.
Yeah. Annoyed. Again. I mean, I'm happy with that I got a podium, because it's good to be back, but again, like, nah, it doesn't feel like a celebration, if you get me, considering that, like, this is my best try. This is the opportunity I had to win, and I didn't. Yes, there was a driver quicker, and I mean, to be fair, he's a quick driver, very quick. I think he did a bit of lift and coast in the middle of the race, because I think he was a bit down on fuel, so I was kind of praying for him to have a bit of an issue with the fuel, but it didn't come sadly. But he lost about 7/10 to being a lap. I think that was just from pure lift and coast though. I mean, I enjoyed driving on my own a bit, like relearning the track, until I only got like a little bit of practice. So just trying to find the correct lines I could gain on him, and then yeah, P2's P2. But I mean, we take that 77-point lead and we take it into Texas.
Do indeed. So you started third, dropped down to fourth. Then Nick held a few of you lot up, and then you got up into second, a couple seconds off Luigi, around 3ish. And then it got to around 4, nearly 5 before the pit stops, and then you got it down a bit. And then, yeah, you two were very closely matched on race pace in the second stint. And then towards the end, like you said, he was lifting, and I think you had decent, actually a really good race pace. You got it down from what, 4 point something down to 1.3 at the end.
4.2 down to 1.3.
Maybe a couple more laps, you never know.
Maybe.
He was on 2 warnings, so he was probably also being a bit more conservative. At the last, I don't know if you did get any warnings in the end, but you weren't on any the last time.
Oh no, I got one.
One.
I was pushing the boundary to try and get into DRS, and yeah,
fair.
Didn't happen.
So I'm sure Luigi had that in the back of his mind, because as soon as we got to lap 26, 27, there was no chance for safety car. It was all up to him if he would get a third warning or not. He didn't bottle it. He managed to get the win. Luigi, are you there, mate? You're right. I don't know if you've included your audio because you're on Xbox app, but it doesn't matter. You have just won the Qatar Grand Prix. Back-to-back victories. Pole to win, pole to win. It must be an amazing feeling right now that you're having. Oh, yeah. That's soared you up even higher, helped Red Bull a bunch, and you just looked in control. Was there ever any doubt during that race that you weren't going to win? Was that just the thought in the last however many laps? Just back off a little, keep the car on the track, no warnings. Mm. Well, you're really delivering. You're being the star driver at the moment in the tier. Back-to-back victories with poles. You've come through after a bit of waiting, like you said, on your wheel and stuff now. So yes, very well done. And we actually head to the States next week in Texas. How's that going to be for you? How does Texas look for you? Yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, very well done. Definitely the pinnacle of your Tier 2 career at the moment. So very well done. Enjoy it. And yeah, a fortnight's worth of Luigi. So well done. Well done. So well done to Morgan, Luigi, and Logan on the podium. We will see you next time out in Texas. That has been the Qatar Grand Prix round 17. With a 77-point lead, the highest Logan can get the gap after Texas is 103, with 104 points left. So the championship cannot be won in Texas. You'll have to wait until Mexico for now. But yeah, we will head into the US next week. We will see you next time out.